Hello? Yes, this is Lucrative, James. Who's this? The bookmakers? What do you guys want? I'm busy. You're banning me from your platform. Why? So because I won $1.8 million betting on MMA in 2025, you're not taking my action? Okay, if that's how it's gotta be, what about my 20,000 YouTube subscribers? Are you gonna ban all of them as well? No, so you can't ban them because you don't know who they are. Bet. Let's take these for all they're worth.
In 2025, I made a bunch of you rich from betting on the UFC, and in 2026, I'm trying to make even more of you rich. And it starts with this video. I'm gonna break down every single fight on the UFC 325 fight card, giving you my thoughts, analysis, picks, and predictions for every single fight on the card. We have an absolute banger of a pay-per-view this week where Alexander Volkanovski is going head-to-head with Diego Lopes for not the first time, but the second time. This is a rematch, and Lopes is coming hot off a brutal KO over Gene Silva, and he is looking to take Alexander Volkanovski's head off like he almost did in title fight number 1. In the co-main event of the evening, we have Dan Hooker taking on the absolute streaking Benoit Saint-Denis. If BSD gets through Hooker, he is not far away from a title shot. This is going to be a great matchup. We also have Mauricio Ruffy back in the octagon in a much better matchup this time, taking on fellow striker Rafael Fiziev. That is going to be an absolute banger of a matchup. Ruffy has left the fighting nerds. Let's see what he can do with his new camp. We got a heavyweight banger in tow with Tuivasa making his return to the octagon, facing Tallison, Teixeira. Somebody's going to sleep most likely in round 1 in that matchup, so I'm very excited for it. And more importantly, I'm excited to put money in your pocket by giving you my thoughts on all of these fights, plus a bunch more fights on the UFC 325 fight card. So let's get into it. Welcome back to the Maldives, lads. I am still here enjoying myself, but more importantly, I'm still here putting in work. I was having breakfast this morning overlooking the beautiful Maldives Ocean, and I was putting in work. You know, I was tape studying. I think I have the best job on the entire planet. I sports bet for a living, as you know, which means I can go anywhere in the world and still make money. I genuinely believe I have the best job in the world. I'm extremely grateful for that, and I don't take it for granted, meaning that I'm not taking my eyes off the ball. I am focused. I am locked in. Even though I earned a lot of money last year, that's last year, right? I'm not going to get paid from last year ever again. I've already been paid from it. 2026, we need to keep the momentum rolling. We need to keep taking this money off the bookies. And with this YouTube channel and this platform I have built for myself, I have to keep putting money in your pocket. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So without further ado, boys, let's get straight into this card. Let me take this hat off and yeah, let's get into it, man. So we got the main event of the evening. For the UFC Featherweight Championship, we have Alexander Volkanovski taking on Diego Lopes for the second time. Alexander Volkanovski coming into this fight with a record of 27 wins, 4 losses. Diego Lopes, on the other hand, 27 wins, the exact same, with a couple more losses with the number 7, the unlucky or the lucky number 7 there. Alexander Volkanovski is currently the favorite in this matchup, just like he was in the first matchup, with odds of -155. Diego Lopes' underdog price tag is currently +135. Boy, oh boy, do we have a fight here, boys. I can speak about this fight for hours. I'm going to try and condense it to about 5-10 minutes and give you the best part. It's always hard to do that. It's not easy breaking down a fight because the level of detail that I use when I cap fights and when I think about fights is very extensive. I've been betting on MMA now for about 11 years, right? I started in 2015, 2014 consistently. So you're talking 11, 12 years. So I know fights well. It's very hard for me to just break things down in 5-10 minute segments. I want to give you the most pertinent points, right? First thing that comes to mind in this one is like, oh, okay, we've got a rematch. Is the fight going to go the same way as the first fight? Now, if you don't know MMA, then you won't know this, but this is true. Rematches rarely go the same way as the first fight, right? Sometimes they do, and I've bet on them to do that many times and won many times, but most times they don't go the same way, right? So now you're asking, James, is this one going to go the same way? I don't think it will go the same way. Something else I want to mention is that in the first fight, I bet on Alexander Volkanovski. I stated 4 years ago that Alexander Volkanovski is the best fighter on the planet. This was before he fought Korean Zombie. I bet him to knock out Korean Zombie. He was then awarded the greatest fighter in the world at that time. But the times have changed, you know. I have a very good read on Alexander Volkanovski. Like I said, I once called him the best fighter in the world at that time. I genuinely believed he was. Volkanovski will go down as one of the greatest fighters of all time. He beat Diego Lopes in the first fight. I bet on him to beat Diego Lopes. In this fight, I see things a little bit differently, boys. And I see Diego Lopes causing him more problems than he did in the first fight. Now, Diego Lopes still caused him bad problems in the first fight. Caught him with a huge uppercut, hurt him badly, rocked him, dropped him, basically. And, you know, I thought potentially may land a KO blow in that fight. And I feel like in this one, he's either going to do the same or actually switch the lights off this time. Volkanovski is very hard to beat skill for skill, but Diego Lopes is not going to try and do that. He's not going to try and have an outside kickboxing fight with the best outside kickboxer we've almost ever seen in the featherweight division, Alexander Volkanovski. He knows what he needs to do here because he's already spent 25 minutes in the octagon with Alexander Volkanovski. He's stated in an interview that I watched recently that he had a lot of ego going into that fight. He's actually switched camps now, and he's got a private training camp that is set up specifically for this Alexander Volkanovski fight. So I think this guy is coming in here ready, focused. I think he went in there very aggressive, and he looked egotistical in the cage last time out, where Volkanovski was coming back off that brutal knockout by Elliott, and he had something huge to prove. Recapturing gold against Diego Lopes was his shining moment to his own ego. Ego's not always a bad thing, by the way. It's not a negative I'm saying on Alex here. But I feel like he's conquered that now. He's won gold back. He doesn't have something to massively prove against Diego Lopes. Now, at the end of the day, these are all mental things, right? I'm not speaking skill for skill because I can, but like I said, I don't want to be here for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I could do a 45-minute breakdown stylistically on this fight alone, but I do think the mental aspect is very big and overlooked in sports and also by sports bettors. The mental aspect going into any athletic endeavor, specifically the UFC MMA fights, is a very important aspect which is overlooked, right? And it's also very hard to predict. We don't know these fighters how they are feeling mentally, right? But we can gauge, and since I've been in the game for a long time, I feel like I have a very good read on that. And I say all of that to say this, boys. Diego Lopes needs to right that wrong here. He also is coming in off massive momentum, finishing the uncrowned champ in Gene Silva. I mean, people were calling Gene Silva the champion before Diego Lopes fought him, beat him to a pulp in round one, uncompetitive 10-8 round, and then knocked him out in round two. By the way, I feel like the tides were turning in that fight, but it doesn't matter. They didn't have a chance to turn because Diego Lopes spinning elbowed his skull off and landed a KO blow. And like I said, it was a 10-8 round one on my scorecard. So Diego Lopes is coming into this fight with heavy momentum, true belief in himself. He will know that he was only inches and moments away from knocking out Volkanovski in the first fight. And he's also openly admitted in public that he had a lot of ego going into that fight, and he has changed that. That's a green flag in my opinion. You know, that's something that I like to see. Will it make a difference? I don't know. Do I think it's a positive? It is a positive. Usually I look for negatives in interviews, not positives. But I think moving camps, admitting you have an ego, and like I said, moving camps, that's a big thing, right? If you're just talking about ego and stuff and not changing anything, maybe we have a different conversation. But he moved camps here, boy. He's got a private camp specifically for Volkanovski. I think that's a good thing here. We speak about the stylistics a little bit before I give you my ultimate prediction, method of victory, etc. So Volkanovski obviously is the best outside striker in the featherweight history, right? For the most part. Best outside kickboxer, right? If they got big gloves on, if knockouts ain't a thing, probably going to win basically every contest ever, right? He's going to out kickbox Aldo, Holloway, Topuria, all of these guys. So Lopes is going to go in there knowing that, and I think he's going to try and push the pace and pressure and put it on Volkanovski from minute one. It seemed to me that, especially rewatching, boys, during my research for this upcoming fight, it seemed to me that if Lopes had slightly better tactics, slightly better footwork, and pressed the issue a little bit more and maybe had a little bit more nuance to his game, nuance that you could potentially learn in a year, learn in 9 months, I think he would have caught Alexander Volkanovski more often. You know, it seemed to me that he was quite hesitant to throw his shots. Maybe that was because he got caught by Alexander Volkanovski with a very beautiful shot in round one. He got hurt in that round. And maybe he was a little bit more hesitant in rounds 2, 3, 4, 5 because he knew he got hurt. But also, I think he was hesitant because he was a little bit worried about his cardio. We have seen Alexander Volkanovski have some of the best cardio ever. And we have seen Diego Lopes have some poor cardio. You go back to look at the Joanderson Brito fight where he got tired in that fight. He gassed out a little bit. You know, you go back and look at the Dan Ige fight where he got tired in that fight. He gassed out a little bit. You go back and look at some of the regional scene defeats. He got finished on the mat because he gassed out. So, you know, I think that he was a little bit worried to push the pace so much because he didn't want to get tired. But man, he had elite cardio in that fight. You know, watching that fight again, I was like, What happened to Diego Lopes? I thought this guy was going to be slowing down in round 4 and 5. He's the one putting the pace and pressure on Alex in round 4 and round 5. I think he's going to take massive, massive confidence from that. And if he goes in here knowing that he can go to full 5-round distance and also knowing that a few key minor adjustments would have probably landed him the knockout or even submission in the scramble or something over Volk, I think he's going to push the pace more. That's what I'm trying to say, right? Stylistically, I think he's going to go in there and put it on Volkanovski more. And I honestly feel like durability-wise, Diego Lopes may be the most durable fighter I've ever seen in the featherweight division. And that's a division that held Max Holloway. I mean, I'm not going to come out here and say Max Holloway is more durable than Diego Lopes. Like, I can't say that, you know? Like, I can't say that. At the end of the day, Max Holloway has been finished in the featherweight division, not once but twice, and Diego Lopes has never. I know they haven't fought the caliber guys, etc., but I don't even know if Topuria would finish this guy. Maybe he would, because he is hittable, I'll tell you that. But what I'm trying to say, man, is that Lopes is durable, man, and I do think Volkanovski will catch him because he's just so much slicker. Even at this aging Volkanovski, he is still slicker, but I don't think he's going to knock him out, to be honest, man. I really don't. And man, Diego Lopes hits so hard. He has a lot of tools as well. The spinning elbow, which we hadn't really seen in the UFC consistently before. He threw that like 2 or 3 times against Gene Silva, finally landing it. Spinning back fist is there. I just feel like if they exchange in the pocket more than like 5 times, you know, he's probably going to catch Alexander Volkanovski. So can he force one exchange every round? I think he can. And what I mean by exchange, I mean close pocket exchange up against the octagon, where Volkanovski doesn't necessarily want to be. Now, Volkanovski's going to have to exchange with him. You go back and watch that first fight, boys. I'm going into the statistics now. I'm stretching his breakdown. I'm stretching his breakdown now, boys, because like I said, I can speak about these fights for an hour. It's a true passion of mine. But you go back and look at that first fight, and what you will see in that fight is Volkanovski had to stand his ground many times, right? One, he wanted to prove to Diego that he's not scared. He needs to. He can't run away for the whole fight. It's a fight, yes. Okay, he can backpedal and stuff, but he has to exchange with him. But 2, Lopes was putting the pace on him. And like I said, I think Lopes is going to put even more of a pace this time. And Volkanovski is going to be forced to exchange like he was forced in the first fight. And he's probably going to be forced to exchange even more now. Like I said, Lopes coming into this fight with momentum. Lopes has 25 minutes of data to use on Volk, which Volk has as well. We're going to touch on that in 1 second. But also, Volkanovski is older now. You know, he's not getting any younger. Volkanovski has spoke of retirement before. He says that when he starts losing and getting knocked out, he's going to retire from the UFC. That's not a good thing that you want to hear. Lopes ain't retiring from the UFC anytime soon. Lopes is the new generation, and Volkanovski, sadly, is the old generation. You know, it doesn't mean he can't win. He literally beat this guy not too long ago. But I just feel like the tides are turning, man, and every day that passes, Lopes is more likely to beat Volkanovski. He kind of almost did it in their last fight, and he might do it again here. You know, I feel like it was 4-1 to Volk, 3-2 more likely maybe. I don't know, it was close. 4-1 is possible, but you just get the sense watching that fight that although it was 4-1, like Volk was on very thin margins. He was skating ice. And I think we see that by the bookmakers' odds. You know, Volkanovski is the champion, right, currently. He literally beat him in his last fight, and he's only minus 155. Something's fishy there. It reminds me of when Volkanovski was on one of the most insane win streaks we've ever seen in the featherweight history, beating every GOAT you could imagine, and he was only like a minus 120 favorite to Topuria. You know, that's like the kind of vibe I'm getting here. I mean, why isn't Volkanovski minus 220 here? You know, why isn't he minus 250? He just beat Diego Lopes in his last fight. Diego Lopes hasn't beat anyone on the level of Volk. Volk's got legends on his record. You know, why is he minus 150 odds? I mean, I think that the odds are kind of telling you that this fight is extremely close, boys. And I'm actually going to pick Diego Lopes for this one. I'm going to pick him for the upset. I picked Volkanovski, but not only picked, I bet on Volkanovski in his last fight against Diego Lopes, and now I'm going the other way. Am I betting on Lopes? I'm not saying that yet. Remember, boys, my picks and predictions on this video are subject to change, by the way. I change my mind a lot. I'm a sports bettor. I'm not going to apologize for that. I do change my mind. It is what it is. If you want to know my actual picks come fight time, get in the Elite Zone. Link in the bio. That's the way to do it. These videos are free videos I put out for everybody in the game. But my picks are not my bets, right? My bets are where I make money. My picks and predictions are what I do for fun. It's analysis. Of course, some of them correlate to bets. Like, my mind works in that way, but I bet completely different than I pick very often. So yeah, my pick and bet was Volkanovski last time. My pick is Lopes this time. Am I going to bet it? I don't know. Maybe I want to go Lopes KO. Maybe I want to go fight ends inside the distance. Maybe I think Volkanovski can get the KO. Maybe I want to pass on the fight because I'm just not confident in the odds being value, right? Like there's many ways I can go about this, but that's the fight, guys. That's the prediction. That's the pick. What you all came here for. Lopes to win the fight. I'm going to pick him to win it via KO as well. And let's not rule out a submission here. I mean, he's one of the best submission artists, or at least one of the best or most tricky submission artists in the featherweight division. So I wouldn't rule that out here, boys. But yeah, Lopes is the pick for me. I don't like to pick against Alex. He's one of my favorite fighters ever, but it is what it is, man. In the co-main event, we got the Hangman, Dan Hooker, taking on Benoit Saint-Denis. Dan Hooker coming into this fight, extensive MMA record, 24 wins, 13 losses. Benoit Saint-Denis, on the other hand, 16 wins with only 3 losses in professional MMA. Currently, we got Benoit Saint-Denis as a massive -300 favorite, with the underdog price tag on Dan Hooker coming back at +250 odds. All right, this is a great fight, lads. I mean, anytime Dan Hooker is on the card, you're watching that fight. Anytime Benoit Saint-Denis is on the card, you're watching that fight. I mean, this should be for the BMF title. Let's be real. You know, these two are bad MFs. We have to put that out there right away. One thing I will say before I get into this breakdown, boys, is that I'm giving you something free later on in the video. I'm giving you something free. It's absolutely unbelievable. You definitely want to be tuned into it. Make sure you watch the entire video because you don't want to miss out. But going back to this fight, I find myself in a very tough position these days, boys. You know, it's 2026. I'm getting older. I'm getting a little bit more known in the sports betting / online MMA community as well. And I'm friends with a lot of fighters. I know a lot of fighters. A lot of fighters follow me on social media. I follow them back. I've spoken to a lot of fighters, hang out with a lot of fighters, spent time with them, speak to them on a regular basis. And Dan Hooker, although I'm not friends with him, I don't speak to him, I have spent some time with him. I live in the same city as him, Auckland. I know fighters that are his friends that train at City Kickboxing. I have a bit of a connection to City Kickboxing because of where I live, where I reside. I met Dan for the first time last year. He did an interview with that MMA girl. I set up the location for the interview, so I was able to meet Dan. So I'm in this position now where I got to give a prediction on his fight. And there's a lot of fighters like this, by the way. It's not just Dan. And I want to be respectful. I'm rooting for Dan. I want him to win, just as I'm rooting for a lot of these fighters that I personally know. But I also want to be real with you guys. And I don't want to give you a BS prediction just because I know someone, right? I want to tell you what I genuinely think. So I'm in a little bit of a tricky position. Like, imagine if your friend was fighting. You're going to say your friend's going to win 100% of the time. Imagine your friend was fighting Benoit Saint-Denis, right? You're going to say your friend's going to win, but at the end of the day, it's a tough fight against Benoit Saint-Denis. So I just wanted to put that out there that I may be a little bit biased in this pick, right? I want to be as honest and transparent as I can to you. As always, I try and fill you with as much knowledge as possible. And I might be a little bit biased on this pick. I want Dan to win. I think he's a much better striker than Benoit Saint-Denis. If you put these guys in a kickboxing ring, Dan Hooker is going to kick his head all over the kickboxing ring, not the octagon. Kick his head all over the ring. He's going to knee him in the face. He's going to knock him out most likely. But if these guys grapple, Benoit Saint-Denis is going to go through him, in my opinion. Benoit Saint-Denis, very high level grappler, very aggressive grappler as well. Very good MMA grappler. That's what I'm going to say. Like, I don't really know if Benoit Saint-Denis is like the slickest guy on the mat with the old gi on and stuff. But I think if you put these guys in an MMA ring, I mean, Benoit Saint-Denis can hang with the best of them. I know that for a fact. So in this fight, I know Benoit Saint-Denis is going to go for the wrestling, as he always does, going to go to the grappling, and he's going to try and use Arman Sarukian's game plan as a blueprint, right? That's what he's going to try and do. I will say, though, that BSD definitely falls in love with his striking a lot. And he could get himself caught or clipped here if he plays on the feet for too long. I personally don't think he will. Like, I think he's going to land some big shots on Dan. Like, that left body kick is always there. The overhand, like, he's very aggressive. So even if Dan's a much better striker, just the aggressiveness will probably land some shots for BSD. I mean, it's an MMA fight. Like, I'm sure Dan will take some shots, right? But I do think at some point, he's going to switch to the wrestling pretty quickly, man. I mean, we saw him go to it against Ruffy, obviously, and I think he's going to do the same here. He knows Dan's a good striker. He knows Dan comes from that City Kickboxing camp. Dan's hang with the best of them on the feet. Go watch that Dustin Poirier fight if you want violence and entertainment and skill. Benoit Saint-Denis is going to try and get the takedowns here. And once Benoit Saint-Denis gets in his groove, it's going to be hard for Dan to defend that. And it's going to be hard for Dan to defend the submission attacks because Benoit Saint-Denis is so aggressive with them, so ruthless with them. And Dan is out here promoting 1 minute scraps. If you don't know what that is, go and follow that on social media. It's blowing up at the moment in New Zealand. Very, very fun thing that's going on. Basically, they get a bunch of guys to fight in gyms, like, you know, I'm not going to say unlicensed, but anyway, So he's got a lot going on, Dan, you know, and Benoit Saint-Denis, if he wins this fight, like this is the biggest fight of his life, you know. If he wins this fight, people are going to be talking about him with a title shot, you know. So, boys, I'm going to skip the prediction on this one because obviously I'm rooting for Dan. I'm rooting for Dan all the way. I want him to get a knockout win. I think an amazing play for this one is the fight doesn't go to decision. I mean, let's be real, boys. Benoit Saint-Denis ain't going to decision. Dan Hooker ain't going to decision. Like I said, it should be for the BMF title. No BMF title has ever gone to decision. I see Benoit Saint-Denis getting some takedowns. And if he does do that, he could definitely submit Dan Hooker. And if the fight stays on the feet, I think Benoit Saint-Denis can land some big shots. But I think Dan Hooker can elbow him, knee him into oblivion, and knock him out as well. So I think this fight doesn't go to decision. That's going to be my pick and prediction for this one. Gun to my head, I'm going to pick BSD to win the fight. I think the wrestling and the grappling is going to be a little bit too much for Dan at this stage of his career, but I'm rooting for Dan all the way. Fingers crossed that Dan gets the KO. I know he can do it if he puts on his best performance, but it's definitely a tough matchup. So listen up, lads. I'm going to give everybody watching this video something massive for free. Yes, you watching this video. No Wheel of Fortune, no spinning and picking one guy. I'm going to give everyone something very special. So we just hit 20,000 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you, first of all, for clicking the subscribe button. If you haven't done it, please go and click subscribe now. A lot of people watch my channel every week, don't realize that they're not actually subscribed. So if you can click subscribe, it's free. I very much appreciate it. We hit 20,000, which is a big milestone for me. Like I said, I believe I got the best job in the world. And now I've been able to turn this job into content, which allows me to create an extra income for me and also expand my skill set, avoid bookie limitations, which are always annoying and tough to get around. We're always, you know, dodging the ball on that one. I'm very good at it. I have big network, etc. But I've got a new passion, you know, over the last few years, which is speaking to you guys, helping other people with their financial situations in their life. And I'm very happy and grateful to be able to do that. So I'm going to do that for you right now, boys. I'm not going to plug my service in this one. I'm going to give everybody watching the chance to join the service completely for free. You don't have to pay me and you can join. Boys, for hitting 20,000 subscribers, I am giving everybody 20 days for free on my service. Boys, 20 days is 3 weeks completely for free. All you need to do is go to sublaunch.com/lucrative MMA, click an elite monthly membership. That will give you access to the elite zone. And all you need to do is type in the coupon code 20K. That's 20K. And if you do that, you're going to get 20 days completely for free in the elite zone. That means you get access to my personal bets that I place. You also get my long shot parlays, my long shot prop bets, and I'm giving you that for free, boys. So yeah, there's no plug on my service this week. There's no click the link. There's no sign up, pay me. There's none of that. You just get to join for free and you're going to get all of my bets for the next 3 weeks. Damn near a month. There's some solid MMA events coming up in the next 3 weeks as well. So I'm sure all of you are going to be extremely happy with that. This crazy offer is only valid until fight day for UFC 325. As soon as fight day starts, the offer is finished and you will no longer be able to join. So that's just a thank you from me to you for supporting me, for getting me to 20,000 subscribers. That's my way of saying thank you. Click the link in the pinned comments. That'll take you instantly to the checkout page that gives you access for free. If you can't find the link in the comments for whatever reason, just go to sublaunch.com/lucrative MMA. And as I said, click on the elite monthly membership, type in the coupon code 20K, 20K. Let's go, boys. Let's destroy the bookies. Let's move on to the next fight. Next up, Strikers Delight. We've got Rafael Fiziev coming in against Mauricio Ruffy. Fiziev coming into this fight with a record of 13 wins, 4 losses. Mauricio Ruffy, on the other hand, 12 wins, 2 losses. You know, I cannot wait to talk to you about this one. Rafael Fiziev is the current favorite at -125. Mauricio Ruffy is currently the +105 underdog. Strikers Delight. This is a great fight, boys, man. I cannot wait for this one. Maybe the most exciting fight on the card. I mean, Volkanovski and Lopes is probably going to be the best one. I mean, to be honest, Hooker and BSD, I mean, that's probably the one, to be honest. Like I said, that's a BMF title fight. But obviously, we've got -300 there. This fight is super closely lined. That's why I'm extremely excited for this one. No one knows who's going to win this one. The bookmakers don't know. I don't know. You don't know. I'm going to do my best to know, though. So yeah, what can I say here? First thing that stands out to me, two strikers, two very different strikers. We got Fiziev with that old school Muay Thai background, training out there in Thailand, striking coach in Thailand. Very good Muay Thai. You know, very, very good Muay Thai. Very good sweeps, traditional Muay Thai, but he's adapted it to MMA extremely well. Mauricio Ruffy, on the other hand, very, very strange striking style, very offbeat with his rhythm. Reminds me of Conor McGregor. You know, very good leaping hands, beautiful uppercuts, great timing on his shots. I think his last fight against Benoit Saint-Denis didn't show how good he actually is. So like I said, Mauricio Ruffy, not with the Fighting Nerds anymore. Now, he has actually gone on Ariel Helwani's show and said that he is still a fighting nerd, but he just doesn't train there anymore. He's always going to be a fighting nerd. From what it looks like to me, he's fully left. We'll see what happens. The Fighting Nerds coach is not going to be in his corner. So that kind of tells you all you need to know. And he's been training with Volkanovski more often. So he's been training with Volkanovski out there in Australia. That's going to be very beneficial here. Remember, boys, this fight card is in Australia. So Mauricio Ruffy doesn't have to acclimatize. He's literally been in Australia for most of the camp. He was training a few different places. I think he was in Thailand for a bit. Now he's back in Australia, but he's mainly training with Volkanovski. It's going to be great for acclimatization, but it's also going to be good because Volkanovski knows Rafael Fiziev very well. You know, Volkanovski has a connection to Thailand. He's always in Thailand training very regularly, and he trains with Rafael Fiziev a lot. You know, they've sparred each other a lot. So I think that Mauricio Ruffy is going to get a lot of tricks and tips from Volkanovski in the striking that he can use against Rafael Fiziev. Talking about the actual matchup, you know, without all of the narratives and stuff like that, it's a very great striker's delight matchup. I do think that Rafael Fiziev is a little bit past his prime now. Even though he won against Ignacio Bahamondes in his last fight as an underdog, in a fight that me and the Elite Zone bet on him and cashed on him, I still believe that he is on a downtrend in his career. And I think Ruffy hasn't even got started yet. I don't think that the Ruffy we saw against Benoit Saint-Denis is the Ruffy that he truly is. I feel like if they rematch in the future, Ruffy can do better in that matchup. I think he had a poor performance. Obviously, I'm not taking anything away from BSD. It was in France. I do think, you know, Ruffy was having issues in his camp, obviously. I don't think that's the true... Like, I think if they run that fight 10 times, we ain't going to get what happened there, like, super often. I'll also say that Ruffy didn't fight terrible in that fight. He landed a brutal flying knee in that fight that probably would have knocked out Rafael Fiziev. Benoit Saint-Denis, extremely durable guy. We know that from his knockout loss against Poirier and also from Zaleski Dos Santos fight. Like, the guy's extremely durable. And he also landed a nice uppercut-style elbow in that fight. And he reversed Benoit Saint-Denis more than once. He got on top of Benoit Saint-Denis and was able to basically defend a lot of the grappling, not the wrestling, but the jiu-jitsu. He's defended it all up until the finish, right? I just feel like he did a little bit better in that fight than a lot of people said. They was all calling him a fraud check after that, and I don't believe it was. It was just two high-level fighters fighting. I do think Ruffy's a high-level fighter. I think he gets back on track here, boys. You know, without going in depth on the breakdown, because I am cautious of time in the video and stuff. I don't want this to be a 2-hour video. It could be with these type of fights on the card, especially this one because I love striking. But yeah, I just feel like Ruffy gets back on track here. I think his distance control is too good. I think his range management is too good. I think his ability to catch a shot is too good. I think Fiziev will be a little bit hesitant to engage in this fight because he knows that Ruffy is very good at finding his distance and timing. And I do think that Ruffy has a durability edge in this fight. I also think Fiziev is on a downtrend, as I've said. Fiziev was knocked out before in the UFC by Mustayev with a spinning back kick. And I do think we could see something similar in this fight, honestly. At the end of the day, man, Fiziev is more versed in the striking. He's had more striking bouts. There could be some issues with that. Like, it's not 100% the Ruffy's going to be able to get his timing on someone so well versed in the striking. I personally think he's going to do it. What I'm trying to say is it's not a lock by any means, but I got Ruffy in this one, boys. I got Ruffy via knockout. I think he gets back on track here. Like I said, I'm making a bit of a ballsy prediction and saying KO. I think it could be a bit of a brutal one. You know, Fiziev has the wrestling in his back pocket. We saw him do it against Bahamondes, but he doesn't have grappling. He couldn't hold Bahamondes down. In fact, he actually only took him down to let him back up straight away. You know, and if he takes Ruffy down, Ruffy will get back up to his feet. I'm very confident in that. And I don't even know if he's going to be able to take him down. And I don't even know if he's going to be able to shoot to try and maybe be able to take him down, which then he can't even hold him down. So more than likely we're getting a striking fight where one guy is youthful, young and vibrant, and the other guy's a little bit over the hill, in my opinion, a little bit veteran, and I don't think it's going to end well for Fiziev. So, Ruffy's the pick. Heavyweight banger up next. Tuivasa taking on Tallison Teixeira. Double T versus Double T. Who's going to win? I think it's going to be Double T. Tuivasa coming into this fight with a record of 14 wins, 8 losses on a big downtrend in the UFC, losing a huge 5 fights in a row. We don't see that often in the UFC since you always get cut if you lose that many fights in a row. Tallison Teixeira is coming back off his lone loss himself, where he succumbed to a round 1 knockout defeat to Derek Lewis. I've got something to say about that one though. But his record, 8-1. The bookmakers don't care about that last loss because Teixeira has a minus 275 favorite price tag with the underdog price tag on Tai Tuivasa. Double T coming back at plus 235 odds. Yeah, I'm always going to root for Tai. I met Tai in Bangkok like 2 years ago in 2024, and he was funny, man. Just as you see in the cage after he wins and all of these interviews, he was just like that in Bangkok. I saw him in a restaurant and came over, spoke to him a little bit. He was definitely enjoying himself that night. You know, I think he was out for a drink, and I kind of said back then that, damn, like this guy, I don't know if he's all in on fighting anymore, because I mean, he's out in Bangkok, he's enjoying himself, etc., etc. And, you know, he was looking in poorer shape in a lot of his recent fights than he used to be, like, let's say 5 years ago. He's opened up Bam Bam Buds, which is a weed business out there in Thailand as well. So I know his mind is focused on business and a couple of other things. So I don't know whether he's fully locked into MMA anymore, boys. That's basically what I'm trying to say. And if he's not, I mean, it's 5 losses in a row. Like, you got to be fully locked into MMA to win these fights. I'm going to be rooting for Bam Bam, always. He's a hilarious guy and I like him, but it's a tough matchup against Tallison Teixeira, who I feel got a little bit unjustly finished in his last fight against Derek Lewis. He was hurt in that fight, but it was a very, very bad stoppage in my opinion, you know. Run that fight 10 times. I feel like Tallison Teixeira beats Lewis about 8 out of 10 or maybe 7 out of 10 or something like that. We'll never know, but I kind of feel like that happens, and kind of think he finishes Tai Tuivasa in this fight as well. I mean, he's a much better striker overall. I think he's got more weapons, and like I said, man, Tai 4 or 5 years ago has a very good chance of winning this fight because durable, doesn't mind getting in a brawl, and I think Tallison Teixeira has a very big issue with fight IQ and defensiveness. You know, I think he's just all offense, all attack. And maybe after the Derek Lewis fight, he changes that. 6'7", massive guy, but he doesn't know much about defense. He kind of just walks forward and just throws shots. And against someone like Tai, and against anyone in the heavyweight division, that can get you into trouble. As we've seen in his last fight against Derek Lewis, even if it was an early stoppage or not, he got hurt, knocked that down badly in that fight. And that's because he's just got no semblance for defense. You know, he doesn't care about defense. So if he's learned his lesson from that fight, I genuinely think he's going to come out here and, you know, piece Tai up, to be honest, and probably get a finish later in round 1. And if he doesn't, he's probably going to still get a finish, in my opinion. Probably earlier, but he's putting himself in way more danger than it needs to be. But yeah, man, overall, I think Tallison Teixeira is going to win the fight. I will say Tai does look better than he has looked in some of his recent fights, you know, which is obviously good, like physically better. But at the end of the day, man, 5 losses in a row. He's probably on the downtrend of his career now. He's on the end of his career. We still don't know much about Tallison. So at minus 275 price, I don't necessarily love it. But it seems hard for me to find a way that Tai wins this fight outside of Tallison just being dumb and Tai just winning in a brawl, which he's done a lot of times. The Greg Hardy fight comes to mind. The Derek Lewis fight comes to mind. But I got to go with Teixeira for this one. I got to go with Teixeira. I got to go with Teixeira via KO. I got to go with Teixeira via KO in round 1. Honestly. In this fight, we have a short notice booking Quillan Salkilld, who was originally on the card to face Rongzhu. He has now taken on Jamie Mullarkey after Rongzhu withdrew from the fight. Quillan Salkilld on an absolute streak in the UFC since he has come in 2025 as a record of 10 wins, 1 loss. Jamie Mullarkey, on the other hand, 18 wins and 8 losses. This is a complete beginner UFC fighter versus a veteran UFC fighter. Some Australian versus Australian violence in this one. No odds out for this late notice booking at the moment, but I am expecting Quillan Salkilld to open up as a massive favourite here. Boys, do I really have to take long on this one? I don't think so. I mean, Salkilld should run through Mullarkey here, right? We have Australia versus Australia. We have a aging veteran with durability issues taking on a new coming absolute force in Quillan Salkilld, someone who could potentially reach the top 10, even top 5 of the lightweight division. And if that's the case, he's going to run through Mullarkey here. It should be a finish. It should be a finish in round 1 or 2. I'm taking Quillan Salkilld here all day long via finish. Next, we have Junior Tafa taking on Billy Elekana. Junior Tafa coming into this fight, interesting record, 6 wins, 4 losses. Billy Elekana, on the other hand, 9 wins and 2 losses. Elekana sitting as the minus 210 favorite with the underdog price tag on Junior Tafa, coming back at plus 180. So boys, this fight is an easy fight to break down. Like every Junior Tafa fight, if you think his opponent's going to take him down, he's probably going to win. If you don't think his opponent can consistently get takedowns and keep it up for more than one round, like Sean Sharaf couldn't, then he's probably going to win, because Junior Tafa is a good striker. He can land his shots very well. He has pinpoint accuracy to some degree, but I feel like Billy Elekana is probably going to be able to take him down and get the choke here. I mean, Sean Sharaf almost finished him in round 1 of their fight, and I think Billy Elekana is honestly a better grappler. I think he has better cardio. I think he's got better jiu-jitsu. I think he's probably going to finish what Sean Sharaf started and get a rear naked choke in round 1. That's my prediction here. Next up, we have Cam Rowston taking on Cody Brundage. Cam Rowston coming into this fight with a record of 13 wins, 3 losses. Cody Brundage, on the other hand, probably the most ugly record on the UFC fight card at 11 wins, 7 losses, and 1 no contest. Cam Rowston, a massive favorite at minus 300 odds with the underdog price tag, and Cody Brundage coming back at plus 250. So again, we got a City Kickboxing fight. City Kickboxing are all over this card. Cam Rowston is the City Kickboxing prospect. If you didn't know, now you know. Taking on Cody Brundage. This guy has... I don't know what I could say about Cody Brundage. Like, this guy is a meme in MMA. He's like a phenom to some degree, but maybe not in the way you want to be known as a phenom. This guy has the LGBTQ HDTV record. You know, he's got the rainbow flag in his Tapology record. Go and have a look at it. Win, draw, no contest, loss. I mean, I don't know anyone who has a 4-fight streak of a win, no contest, draw, and a loss. Like, he can't do any more in MMA. He's done it all. You know, Cody Brundage is an enigma. He has been called out for having no dog in him before. Not by myself. He's shown dog in him against Julian Marquez. So is Cody Brundage evolving? I don't really know. In my opinion, he showed some dog in the Eric McConaughey fight as well. He was hurt in that fight. He pushed through. Very close fight, split decision. We ended up cashing on Eric McConaughey at plus 200 odds. Me and everybody in the elite zone there. On the other hand, we got Cam Rowston, interesting fighter. He's a CKB prospect. So like I said, I'm always going to root for the CKB boys for the most part. And I think he's going to win this fight. The jury's still out for me on Cam. Like, I need to see more of him in the octagon. He got a great knockout over a UFC veteran at this point, Andre Petrosky, in his last fight. He got a knockout on the Dana White's Contender Series as well. But this guy's more of a grappler, you know, so coming in off 2 knockouts is very, very good for him. It's going to be good for his confidence. It's going to be good for momentum. We know that confidence breeds itself into skill set at times, meaning that if you're more confident, you're going to be a better fighter. You know, you're going to have higher skills because you're just going to train more, learn more, adapt more, and just fight better on the night. So I'm very happy for Cam that he's got 2 KOs in a row. Because, like I said, he's a primary grappler. So if he can get better at striking, which the KOs are going to help him in many different ways, mentally, etc., he's going to be a bit of a force, because I think he's a good fighter on the ground, you know, good grappler, good back takes, smart fighter. I think he's got good fight IQ, can have a little bit of that tall man's defense. Cody Brundage is quite explosive and athletic when you let him strike, and he could land something over the top here. I'm going to go with Cam for the window, man. I can't pick Cody Brundage. It's tough for me to ever pick Cody Brundage in a fight. No disrespect to him, but it's like when you watch his fights, it's like he could lose any fight, but he also has moments in a lot of fights as well. Not really, though. You know, some of these fights have been dominated in, but still won with, you know, disqualifications and stuff like that. Cam Rowston is a better striker. He's got better jiu-jitsu. And the only area where he loses the fight skill-wise, in my opinion, is wrestling. I would say Cody Brundage is a better wrestler than him. But Cam can also get takedowns of his own, especially as the fight goes on. Cam's got better cardio. And I'd say that Cody's maybe a little bit more athletic than him and explosive. But like I said, it doesn't last long. You know, Cody gasses out long before Cam does. Cam's on the up and up. Cody's been in the UFC for a long time now. I got Cam to win this fight. I got Cam to finish him in the later rounds, maybe a rear naked choke as we get into round 2, round 3. A bit of a statement win for Cam. Maybe not a statement, but I mean, coming into the UFC, knockout in Dana White's Contender Series, knockout in his debut against a veteran, finish, in my opinion, against Cody Brundage, against another veteran. Cam's well and truly in the UFC, and they're going to start giving him some semi-big fights after this. So, yeah, very excited to see Cam win this one. He's going to get this one done, man. Cam Rowston for the win. Next up is the Battle of the Wrestlers, with Jacob Malkoun taking on Torrez Finney. Malkoun coming into this fight with a record of 8-3. Torrez Finney, on the other hand, 11 wins with no losses. Very shiny record. The bookmakers do not care about the shiny record. Jacob Malkoun is currently the -170 favourite, with the underdog price tag on Torrez Finney coming back at +145. This is a very interesting fight to me, boys. I'm not going to lie, man. Jacob Malkoun been off for a long time. And first things first, as always, I'm trying to give you as much knowledge as possible. And you guys might not know who Jacob Malkoun is, but very good fighter. Lost a very close fight to Brendan Allen. I thought he won that fight. Literally could have had a win over Brendan Allen. I mean, then you would have known about him. Brendan Allen just beat RDR. Now, the thing that I want to bring to your attention is that Jacob Malkoun has not been in the octagon for a long time. You have to go all the way back to the Andrei Petrosky fight, where Petrosky seemed to get knocked out by Jacob Malkoun's hip bone. We rarely ever see that in the octagon. MMA never fails to disappoint. But you're talking March 2024. Approaching 2 years, you know, it's going to be 2 months from being 2 years that he hasn't fought in the octagon when he faces off against Terrence Finney on January the 31st, you know, so that's a long time to be out. And the reason he was out, this is what I'm bringing to your attention, is that he had a very bad back injury. He actually flirted with retirement. He was going to retire. He had thought about retirement. So that's how bad the injury was. He's back now. You know, he's had a lot of recovery in it, but it's never good when a fighter takes an injury so bad that he talks about retirement. It's never good, boys. You know, it's never good. And something I didn't mention in the Fiziev breakdown is that Fiziev had bad MCL injuries, which kept him out in the past as well, which is never good, right? And I don't think this is going to be good for Jacob Malkoun. Now, Malkoun's going to do what he always does, which is go for the single leg and try and rinse and repeat. That's literally his attack in MMA. You know, he button mashes on the single leg. I don't know if you're going to be able to do that against a brick fridge like Terrence Finney? Torrez Finney, not Terrence McKinney. Torrez McKinney, similar name. Anyway, Torrez Finney is built like a brick fridge, built like a fridge brick, built like a fridge freezer, built like a brick freezer, a freezer brick of a man. It's going to be hard to take this MFer down with a single leg, with a double leg, whatever you want to do. And I feel like he's going to burn himself out doing it. Is he going to get the single leg? He probably is. He's so damn good at it. He's like elite with the single leg. I don't know how he is. I mean, he comes from Australia. Like, I don't know how this guy's just super elite at the single leg. It honestly baffles me, but he is. I don't think he's going to be able to do it against Torrez Finney. I mean, Finney is so strong and physical. Finney's the one taking you down and grappling you. Finney gets literally booed for how much of a wet blanket he is, how physically strong he is that his opponents cannot get up from him, that he gets booed because he's just so boring his fights because he ain't doing damage, etc. But man, it depends what fight you give him. I mean, you give him that dude on Contender Series and he rear naked chokes him. So I think he definitely has it in his back pocket to, you know, finish these guys. But obviously some fighters, you know, it's tough to do that against. Valentin was one of them. The wrestling is going to be very interesting for me in this one because both guys like to go for takedowns in very different ways. I think that Finney's the much stronger man here and the more physical man. Will that dictate the wrestling scenarios? Jacob doesn't try to go physical with you though. As I said, he tries to go very specific technicalities with his single leg routine. So is that going to outmaneuver the physicalness of Torrez Finney? As we know, grappling is not only about strength, oftentimes it is about skill, but I think Torrez has some skill in the grappling as well. He's not only physical, he's very explosive, very athletic, and he knows what he's doing. You know, we have seen Jacob taken down as well. Yes, he did almost win that fight against Brendan Allen, but Brendan Allen also got on top, did damage there, took him down as well, was able to reverse him. So I kind of feel like we may see the same from Finney here. Obviously, he's not as good as slick as the jiu-jitsu, but I don't see why Finney can't also take Malkoun down if Malkoun can take him down. I got Malkoun as being the better cardio guy, you know, more cardio, because Finney's just built like such a... I mean, his body type just isn't the type to go 5 rounds, unless you're Daniel Cormier, very similar to Daniel Cormier body type to some degree. Funnily enough, he's actually training with Daniel Cormier now. I think that's a very good move for him. He's training with the best wrestler we've ever seen in MMA to some degree, at least the most credentialed to some degree. Again, we got people like Henry Cejudo and Ben Askren there, but you know what, I'm Bo Nickel, but you know what I'm trying to say. DC is probably the most credentialed out of them all. The wrestling guys are going to come at me now, but he's definitely up there. And there's a lot of good wrestlers in DC's camp, so Finney's going to be very ready for the wrestling. Now, a lot of times when you get 2 wrestlers, a striking fight ensues. If that happens here, I don't know who's going to win. I mean, Finney, in my opinion, has more power, more explosive, very sneaky over-the-top punches, and way more durable. One thing I can say about Jacob Malkoun is that he has been dropped and hurt by a lot of opponents. He was knocked out brutally by Phil Hawes in about 20 seconds, boys. I could see Finney knocking him out in this fight. Look, very close fight. I think that I'm going to go ahead and pick Torrez Finney, the plus 145 underdog here. This is an underdog pick from me. I just feel like he can match Jacob in the wrestling in terms of he's more physical, more athletic, and goes for the wrestling himself. He also can match him in the striking because although I think Jacob Malkoun is a better technical striker, he actually trains at the first gym that I really train heavily Muay Thai at, which is SRG Thai Boxing. Shout out to SRG, shout out to Lewis. So I do think he's better technically, but I think Finney hits harder. I think he's more explosive. I think he's more durable. So that could even out the striking, even make Torrez win it. Just think it's a close fight, boys. You know, maybe 29-28 either way. Maybe Torrez knockout. But overall, I will pick Torrez Finney for the upset in this one. All right, boys, I'm going to spin through these last fights just because, as you can see, the lighting's going down a little bit now and can play around with the camera settings, but you're going to lose me in a minute. So let's spin through this on a beautiful night in the Maldives. I want to say it's been a pleasure breaking down these fights with you. Let's absolutely decimate the bookies in 2026. And remember, earlier on in the show, I told you you can get all of my bets completely for free for 20 days as a celebration for hitting 20K subscribers. All you need to do is find the pinned comment, click that link. It'll take you straight to the checkout page where you pay $0. You pay me $0 and I give you all of my bets for damn near a month, 3 weeks, loads of MMA events. I'm going to put money in your pocket, or at least I'm going to do my best to do that. Sublaunch.com/lucrativemma, and the promo code is 20K to sign up completely for free, as I said. In the next fight of the night, we have Jonathan Micallef taking on Oban Elliott. Micallef has a record of 8 wins, 1 loss. Oban Elliott, on the other hand, 12 wins, 3 losses. Very closely lined fight. Jonathan Micallef is the -137 favorite at the time of recording, with the underdog price tag on Oban Elliott coming back at +117. So I'll always love Elliott because he lost to Ko, which was my favorite bet ever. I won so much money on Sung Young Ko. But I feel like he's got a tough matchup here against Micallef. I mean, it's definitely a close fight. I think Micallef is a better jiu-jitsu guy. So Elliott is the better wrestler. If he pushes the wrestling, I think he could get himself caught in a triangle choke or something. On the feet, it's a weird fight. Like Micallef is going to stay on the outside and throw some kicks. And I think he could probably win that fight on optics and just stay in more solid on the outside. And yeah, it's a tough fight for me to go. I did break this down before and I felt it was a tough fight. I got Micallef in this one. The reason is because I just don't see where Elliott holds a big advantage. Like, I think Micallef holds a big advantage in the jiu-jitsu. I could definitely see a Micallef submission, right? I also think he holds a advantage in the outside kickboxing. Like, if Elliott don't pressure him and force a fight, which he doesn't always do, sometimes he's more on the back foot and kind of retreating in a way, and he does force a fight, but I can't rely on him to do it, put it that way. Especially against someone like Micallef, who does have good footwork at times, is known to just, like, is very well versed in staying on the outside and kicking. I give him the advantage there. Where do I give Elliott the advantage? Probably the wrestling. But as I said, if he wrestles, I think he might get himself reversed. I think he might get himself caught in a submission. And then outside of that, the boxing, I think he's a better boxer. But I can't rely on him to force boxing exchanges. And if he does, then it gets in the clinch. And like I said, in the clinch, he could get guillotined or something. So I think overall, Micallef has the advantage in this fight. I also think Elliott's durability isn't there. I don't think Micallef is strong or is powerful on the feet at all, but he can throw some high kicks, man. And Elliott's durability, I honestly feel like it's a little bit suspect. So he could get hurt on the feet. And I just haven't liked what I've seen from him on the ground. I mean, Ko obviously dominated him on the ground, but I'm not going to take anything away from him there. Ko does that to everyone, but Ko had him in a rear naked choke at one point as well. And he has been finished on the ground in Cage Warriors. Why can't Micallef get on top? If Micallef gets on top, he's pretty nasty, man. I got Micallef in this fight, boys. Next up, we have Kaan Ofli taking on Yizha. Kaan Ofli coming into this fight, record of 12 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw. Yizha, on the other hand, 26 wins with 5 losses. Yizha is currently the -230 favorite with the underdog price tag on Kaan Ofli coming back at +195. Yeah, this is a very good fight, boys. Say very good fight. It's a good match fight, you know. I'm very intrigued to see it. I got Yizha as the winner, and the reason I'm picking Yizha is because I think he's the better boxer, and I think he could get takedowns of his own. Kaan Ofli's probably going to try and get takedowns, but I think Yizha could actually reverse him. I think he's as strong as Kaan Ofli, probably, and probably a better scrambler with more reps in MMA, more of a veteran in MMA, more ways to win and more knowledge of how to win and dog out these tough fights, and just a little bit smarter and more switched on in certain grappling positions, and he knows what to do to win the rounds. I hope that made sense, but that's how I see the fight playing out. I think both fighters can get takedowns here. In a fight where I think both fighters can get takedowns, but a fighter is just way more versed in those takedown positions. And in my opinion, the better striker in Yizha, I have to go with Yizha here. I think he'll get probably a decision win. Kaan Ofli is tough. He has been finished, but he seems fairly tough in my opinion. Next up, we have a championship bout, but not a UFC championship bout, a road to UFC championship bout. So if you don't know what the road to UFC is, boys, it's a tournament that the UFC holds where they have a bunch of Asian fighters, or at least fighters from the Asian/Oceanic region, compete to get a contract in the UFC. So whoever wins these bouts will be signed to the UFC. In this fight, we have Dom Ma Phan taking on Sang Uk Kim. Phan coming into this fight with a record of 8 wins, 2 losses. Sang Uk Kim, on the other hand, a record of 13 wins, 3 losses. There are currently no odds out for these road to UFC bouts, so cannot give you the odds, boys. But I think this one will be fairly closely lined. This one's a very interesting fight, boys. 2 grapplers here. Sung Yuk Kim is going to go out there and try and take Dom Ma Phan down. Dom Ma Phan's going to be like, all right, sweet, take me down. I'll reverse you. Dom Ma Phan's going to try and take him down. This could be a Quillan Salkilld versus Dom Ma Phan rerun, but maybe the result will be a little bit different because Kim is no Quillan Salkilld, you know? So Dom Ma Phan's only loss does come to Quillan Salkilld. He lost to him twice. He's only got 2 professional losses. Got finished by him both times. Showed some good stuff in those fights, to be honest. You know, did get rammed through to some degree, but to another degree, he reversed Quillan Salkilld. He also took Quillan Salkilld down, got on top at times. So, you know, Dom Ma Phan is a good fighter. He is quite tricky. And I think that the fight here favors Dom Ma Phan stylistically because he's got someone who's going to go into his wheelhouse, which is the takedowns. I have no doubt in my mind that Sang Uk Kim will either shoot takedowns or at least engage in the grappling here with Phan. And I feel like Phan is a little bit more tricky, a little bit more well-versed, and he's going to come out on top in those positions, leading to a decision win for him. Can he get a submission? Yes. More than likely, I think it's going to be a decision. If it's a striking contest, then I don't know. I need to do a little bit more research. I kind of feel like Kim's maybe the better striker. Again, I'm not 100% sure on that fact. I don't think it will be a striking contest though, just because of what I've seen with both these guys. But ultimately, if these guys try to grapple, I think Phan's going to come out on top just about and get a win. Next up, we have another road to UFC bout. Sebastian Szalay versus Kiichiro Nakamura. Szalay coming into this fight with a record of 10 wins, 1 loss. Nakamura, on the other hand, 7 wins, only 1 loss as well. All right, for this fight, I'm going to be super honest with you boys. I haven't done tape study. Obviously, I'm in the Maldives. I'm trying to enjoy my life. You know, I'm trying to switch off. Mama told me, switch off. I said, how can I switch off? I got the boys on YouTube waiting for me to put money in their pockets like I've been doing for years and years and years. Come on, mama. I can't switch off. But I did switch off enough to not tape one fight on the card, which is this one. Big apologies, boys. But it's all good. You can join my group completely for free. As I said earlier, find the pinned comment, click that link. You're going to join completely for free and you're going to know my official prediction on this because I send out full card breakdowns on every single fight on the card, including this one, after I've done tape study, and that will be in the elite zone. So just join for free and then you're going to get my prediction. So it doesn't even matter. You don't even need it. You're going to get it anyway. For free. Next up, we have one of my favorite fighters on the planet, and he's not even signed to the UFC. My man, Sulang Rangbo, is taking on city kickboxing prospect Lawrence Lui. Sulang Rangbo coming into this fight with a record of 10 wins, 3 losses. Lawrence Lui coming into this fight, 7 wins, only 1 loss. This is a tough one for me, right? Because Sulang Ranggoat is my boy. I love that guy. Don't ask me why. I love his striking style. I'm a sucker for flashy strikers. There's definitely something going on right now, boys. I can hear dolphins or something in the background. Hey, I'm trying to do a video. I'm trying to put money in the pockets of 20,000 people. Relax. Sorry, boys. Yeah, Sulang Rango is my boy. Do you know what I mean? So I can't pick against him. But Lawrence is, like, I know people who are friends with Lawrence, you know, CKB guy. I don't know Lawrence personally, but again, I don't want to be picking against my friends' friends. You know what I mean? I'm on the home team here. Loyal to the soil. I ain't going to be talking all that. But what I will say is I ain't picking against Sulang Rango. Maybe if I meet Lawrence one day, you know, we become friends, the prediction will be different. But I have to be honest. Look, this is a good fight, by the way, boys. Like without, you know, being funny and making jokes and stuff, this is a good fight. Like, the issue with Sulang Rango is that he's 20 years old, man. He's got 3 losses on his record. Those losses come when he was 15/16 years old. Yeah, there's one when he's like 18. But boys, this guy was a child, a baby when he lost, right? So don't look at those 3 losses on his record, man. This guy is coming for blood in the UFC. I think he's a very good fighter. I think he has a lot of potential. Just go and watch his fight against Danso, knocks him out. We cashed on him there as a big underdog. Shout out to me in the Elite Zone. We also cashed on him in his next fight at like -150. That was a crazy price tag. Easy win. The issue though is he's 20 years old, and his physicality and his frame and his physicality shows that Lawrence is a big boy, right? He ain't 20 years old. He could go out here and put a veteran/grappling game plan as he did in his last fight, and I wouldn't be semi-surprised. I do think Sulang Rango is a level above on the feet. He trains at the UFC China PI with Mark Timms as his striking coach. Little insider information that Mark Timms actually was one of the striking coaches at CKB, so he's going to know Lawrence and his movements and how he trains and how he fights very well. So that could be some good information that Sulang Rango can take off Mark there. And overall, I do think Sulang Rango is a better striker. I just think he has better eyes in the pocket. He's a better feel for the game in the striking. But like I said, Lawrence, more physical, will go to the grappling. It's going to be a very good fight. I got Sulang Rango. I can't pick against him. But obviously, I'm not going to be rooting for Lawrence because Sulang Rango is my guy. But to some degree, I will be rooting for him. Like I am rooting for most of the guys in New Zealand in City Kickboxing. So yeah, great fight, boys, but my pick is Sulang Rango at this time, probably via the sit. To be honest, man, it might be a knockout. I've seen Lawrence hurt many times. It's a tough one for me. I'll say knockout, but yeah, we'll see, man. Lawrence has a good chance of winning this if he implements a grappling wrestling game plan and shows his physicality on the octagon, where Sulang Rango is 20 years old. He's still growing into his frame. You get what I'm trying to say, boys. Next up, we have another City Kickboxing fighter in the road to UFC bout. We have Namsray Batbayar versus City Kickboxing prospect Aaron Tao. Batbayar coming into this fight 9 wins, 1 loss. Aaron Tao, on the other hand, 11 wins, again, only 1 loss. This is a very good fight, boys. Both fighters are almost a mirror of each other. Like, Aaron Tao likes to go in there and swang and bang and get takedowns. And Batbayar likes to go in there and swang and bang and get takedowns. Take your back. His best position is the back take. Even in his lone loss against Tuman Dembarel, he did take his back early in round 1 and ended the round on his back. That could have been a win if there was like a couple more minutes in the round. He might have got the rear naked choke because he's very good at that. And he would be a 10-0 prospect, you know. Aaron Tao, on the other hand, very similar. Honestly, guys, you could watch tape on these guys and you'd be like, who is who? Like, they're both the same guy. Not in looks, but in fight style. They both just love to bite down on a mouthpiece and swing heavy leather. By the way, another City Kickboxing prospect, so I'm going to be rooting for Aaron Tao, but I feel like Batbayar hits harder and he's just as durable or maybe a bit less. Aaron Tao has gone out there and says himself that he knows Batbayar has strength, self-belief, manner, what they say in New Zealand. And he's almost said himself that he knows this is like a mirror matchup. It's going to be very interesting for me to see who takes the front foot in this one, because both fighters usually take the front foot in all of their fights, but someone's got to take the back foot here. I feel like it's going to be like a push and pull. You know, both fighters are going to be on the front foot at times. Boys, like I said, it's tough for me to pick against these City Kickboxing guys, but I do think Batbayar has a chance to win this one. Just hitting very hard, man. And Aaron Tao loves to brawl. And then grappling-wise, I kind of feel like Batbayar is a little bit better on top, and I've seen Tao troubled at times on the ground. Look, very good fight, boys. I want to be quick with the prediction. I'll take Batbayar here to win, but I'll be rooting for Tao all the way, man. I really hope he wins, but it's a tough fight. But yeah, I don't have too much to say about that one. I watched a lot of tape on these guys. I feel like I have a good read on it. I'll be rooting for Aaron, but my prediction is my prediction, so yeah. I'll take Batbayar. I don't know if it's going to be KO or not. I don't want to see a KO, so I'll say decision. Boys, that is it. It's been a pleasure. I don't know if you can still see me anymore. It is darker than a mother right here, but it was very much my pleasure breaking down the fights for you. Like I said, boys, if you want to sign up for my service, you can sign up completely for free, 20 days for free, and that's it, boys. I'll see you for the next prediction video or a little bit later in the week for Hammer in the Week. Make sure you go and hammer that one. That's it, boys. Peace.